ahead.
We need to get Mr. Younger, Mr. Spales in the picture.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Our idea for helping the Rainelle area improve and grow, come back from the flood, like the phoenix out of the ashes, is to have pop-up businesses here in Rainelle where we would take some of the abandoned buildings and set them up with a ready-made business incubator that would help them come in either seasonally or for a short time and set up as a business, and then if they like business, if they think it's working really well for them, then they'll stay. And if not, maybe they won't come back until next year. But they wouldn't have to come in and invest and then be stuck with like a year lease. It would be a temporary lease. It could be anywhere from like a day, like they've done in some other places like in Beckley and in Bluefield, or it could be for a week, or could be for a month, a season as in Christmas or springtime, or it could be for an entire year eventually. We're hoping that these businesses will stay and be a part of a permanent new business initiative in the area. Well, how does this work? Well, first of all, what we would be doing is pretty much being a business incubator. And this is already being done in West Virginia as a part of, it's called the Hive Initiative. It's a small business incubation for West Virginia. And what we would do is we would work with the Hive so that we could advertise and bring in entrepreneurs here to use the resources that we already have, the people that we already have, to create new businesses. What the Hive does is it actually helps businesses to get started from the ground up. And as you know, it can be really difficult to do that. There's grant money involved. We would make a part of our grant that we would ask from the Hive and other places that you can get grants from here in West Virginia. We would ask that we would be able to establish a staff that would help each of the businesses coming in. For instance, we could have a technology staff that was always available to help the companies with their technology. We would have maybe people for the cash registers if they would need that, people who would be there who could help them set up their anything to do with OSHA, any kind of rules and regulations, paperwork. Those people, that group, would be stable here in Rainelle, and they would be marketing, bringing in the businesses, and the businesses would stay here, possibly temporarily, possibly eventually permanently. If a company would want to stay here permanently, then we would help them to get a permanent building and help them to get the grant money that's actually available out there right now, according to Matt. So this would be a great time to do this for real here in West Virginia, because it's happening in other places. Why don't you tell us a little bit?
And Bluefield have both had pop-up businesses. A lot of the research I did, I found that towns bigger than Rainelle have done it. You know, Bluefield and Beckley are both bigger than Rainelle, and right now better off than Rainelle. But there's definitely potential there for smaller towns and towns that are downtrodden. And Mr. Ford actually talked about a town in Kentucky that had
Corbin.
Yeah, we think yes. What was that percentage? 65% of the buildings. 70% of the
We're
buildings were
unoccupied now. It's down to 5%.
right, and they fixed that with the pop-up business concept.
And you also mentioned Hinton, process Hinton's going through right now, where it's more of a community development, but that's leading also toward economic development.
Yeah, Matt said that we'd start with the community development, and then the economic development follows that, instead of starting with economic development. So this would really be a community involvement project, bringing in the whole community, and also other resources within the state. One thing we talked about was possibly contacting other people who had left right now, who've made it, just like the guy who really has been instrumental in making Hinton come back from the dirt is a guy who actually made it big in Chicago. And he started it's a medical business where they provide substitute doctors and nurses and medical personnel to doctors all over the United States. but it's centered in Hinton. That brought in a little bit of money, helped him stay there, and then he slowly bought up other buildings. And so we would also be contacting people like that who may want to come back to the area, especially if maybe they're a little older and they want to get back here to retire and get back to their families. And so there's so many different venues that we could use to be able to build this. Some of the ideas that we came up are up here, and I'm going to pass this over to Peggy.
This is our poster that Marty did yesterday, and as everybody knows, your biggest resource is your people. That's why we have people. And here are our grant writer, marketing director, business manager, the people that she talked about that would be a stable team. Some of the ideas we had was a quilt store, and they could be making quilts during the spring and the fall. We could do a baseball and a football stores, because I talked to people that have young men that play on the little pee-wee football, have to go clear to Beckley to find football pants and cleats usually. A trampoline park, and everybody likes this idea. We would have an adult night, pet adoptions, computer, laser tag, paintball, kayak rentals, a ski or outdoor sports store, because we want that to go along with a cross-country ski trail that we'd like to see. A haunted house that would be fun and maybe professionally done. Everybody in the world would come to that. The Halloween store, like the ones they have in Beckley. Zip line, Christmas, the yarn store and knitting, crocheting for Mrs. Foles over there. An art store, and then this one is like even with art events. A summer store, just have anything that you need for summer. That's just some of the ideas that we came up with. I'm sure there's more out there, and maybe ATV rentals. Some of these may not work, but we don't know until we try or look at the, you get into deep with it, dive deep.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things is to have a company to come in here and invest in downtown Rainelle right now. That's very difficult for them to do under the circumstances. But if we could take someone who really would like to start a business and maybe doesn't have the capital and needs to start really small, this could be the way that they could do it. We felt that in the area, some of our best resources included natural resources, and so it would be good to bring in companies that would be involved with sports, outdoors, things like kayaking. If we get the river cleaned out, then maybe we can have a kayak rental place. And those are really small businesses that wouldn't take that much capital to get started, especially if they could get the grant. It's really difficult to start a new business. And so the best way to do it would be to start small. And these pop-up businesses are very small. They can be, like I said, in as little as a day, get somebody's feet wet. We could even maybe have some kids come together and make a little business for a day. But this would involve branding the pop-ups, actually doing everything that you would do with a business. Maybe the business department could work with us. But when we talked to Matt, he said he thought that this was something that they really could work with and do something about. So, any questions?
They've already had some.
Oh, here?
Yeah, down at, where was it? The LuLaRoo. Hands. They
Yes.
had a couple of those that pop up store.
But you know,
Yeah.
that's,
I
we
heard
could build
Chad
on
did.
that, yeah.
So
You know,
we
can
have
you
a
go?
horse store.